Not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to replace a couple of things. That includes the oil filter housing, new bulb lights, some add-ons for my door handles, and a few other parts as well. So let's get into it. So pay attention to these bulbs right here and notice that they're not very orange. It's kind of like in the middle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You can see how dull the light is. If you compare it to the side of the car, it is very orange. So this is pretty simple. I've done this before. I'm just going to go ahead and take off these two screws up top and replace the bulb. Here are the replacement bulbs. And the reason why they're not as orange as they should be is because the top coating of this has worn off. And you can see the difference. Whenever you install these, you kind of want to be careful not to touch the actual blinker area because you don't want to get your grease from your fingers on this because it'll start smoking and might burn up. So I could just take a shirt like this and then, stick it in. So this should be a direct replacement bulb, but if you really pay attention, these little nipples on the side, you can see how these ones are angled, they're offset a little bit, but these ones are straight up and down. So it looks like these ones aren't the correct bulbs, but I'm going to try to stick them in anyways for the time being while I get some new ones. And just to test them, you could turn the car on and make sure they work. And that was a lot better. And you pretty much want to do the same thing on the other side, and that is all. I am worried that this isn't like clipped in there, that it will eventually pop itself out. So let's hope it doesn't, and let's try to get some new ones here soon. I'm sure you guys remember the carbon fiber door handles that I took off a few videos ago. And the plan was to get them painted at first, but then I came across these inserts that are also gloss black, and they'll match pretty well. And for the time being, I'm gonna go ahead and smack these on, and whenever I feel like it, I'm gonna take them off and actually get the door handles painted in the future. I looked online and I couldn't really find brand new door handles for this thing. They're all used and all faded, which I'm not a big fan of the faded finish, and this looks a lot better and it's pretty easy to do. Which honestly, I know it's very hypocritical of me to install these, but this is a lot better than carbon fiber. So let's go ahead and degrease the door handles, heat them up with heat gun, and pop these on. This is a pretty straightforward process. All I'm gonna do is just degrease the door handles with some alcohol. So that way the 3M tape can stick a lot better. And I'm going to heat up the area so that way the adhesive also sticks better. Because it is pretty cold outside right now. Putting these on is really easy. You can see right there the 3M tape. Just have to peel it off and pop it on. So I got one installed. And the fitment's a solid 6 out of 10, I would have to say. Right there, doesn't really line up that good. But you get what you pay for. But from the outside, it looks a lot better. And there's still a few things that have to match to make them gloss black. For example, this A-pillar trim that goes all the way around the whole entire car. So I might have to pop it down, maybe sand it and then spray some gloss black or matte black. And then the very last thing would be, and then of course the trim over here and the one on the bottom. Okay, so whatever you just watched about these door handles, check this out. This 3M tape is pretty useless and it doesn't really go on. Here, I'll show you. To me it sounds like it's hitting this little rubber gasket, which I'm not going to take off. I feel like the only way to solve this would be to shave down the contact patches, which I'm also not going to do that. Okay, so if you buy these do not work. I can easily pop this off. I don't know if I should leave this on for longer, but we will try. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna try to return them. Okay, now let's get back to the whole point of this video. So I've already eliminated 2 oil leaks, and I have a few more left, and one of them is the oil filter housing. And I have this complete kit right here that I've ordered. I can link the part numbers down below. You could buy these separately from Mercedes and overpay, of course. This job is pretty simple. All you're gonna need is the kit. You could replace the oil filter, which you don't have to, but I'm going to. And the main part is this big 46mm socket with 3/4 head. But before we go ahead and proceed with this, I'm gonna show you something. I cannot remember if I've showed you guys before, but you can see this rusted cooler line. And I'm going to replace it. The crappy thing is this cooler oil line goes inside the radiator, and there's a good chance I might bust it open and break it, which I have not ordered a new radiator just in case, because I don't want to spend $200 to $500 on this when I don't have to. So if this breaks, I'll just order the new part at the time. And to do this, you're gonna need the special key that goes down in there and holds the clutch fan from spinning. I bought this for like $20, $30. I think this will work. You could spend the extra bucks and get like the Mercedes tool. And I bought this little kit that can plug the cooler lines from leaking. Now the crappy thing is, it's kind of hard to get a hold of these cooler lines. And luckily I found this whole assembly on eBay. I think I paid like $200, which isn't too bad. And I could go ahead and loosen it up, I believe right there, and swap them over. But I may as well do the whole entire thing. Might be easier. And I bought an extra bucket just in case if I lose some transmission fluid. So that way I can pour it back and I'll know how much exactly I lost. And I went to the junkyard today for my Mercedes. Came across this little piece right here that's for the air intake. Usually these are pretty hard to find, and when you do, they're usually broken. I didn't really have to get this just because I'll be swapping the Mercedes here in about a year. But the whole point as to why I went to the junkyard is to pick up these wheel sensors. Sometimes my ABS light comes on, and I don't know if it's because these are bad or if it's because I removed the sensor for the brake pads. So I went ahead and picked up these two. Usually these cost like $200 used, but I picked them up for much cheaper. And before I proceed with replacing the cooler line down below, which I'll probably do next week, and there's a reason why. Like I said before, previous owner told me that he got the Freon completely removed from the system, and I don't trust that. There's many reasons why. I'm sure you guys have seen previous videos of the rust and a bunch of other things that they lied about, but I'm gonna make sure that there's no Freon in the system so I don't hurt myself. And as soon as I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the radiator, cooler lines, some other pieces, and I'll have easy access to the AC compressor. The thing is I'm not sure if the AC compressor is even bad, to be honest with you, but I do have the replacement part and I may as well put it on while I have the access to do so. But without further ado, let's get back to the video. So first thing we wanna do is remove the covers to gain access to the oil filter housing area. So after you remove the covers, you have access to this thing. I have no idea what it is, but this will give us a little more space to work on this. So we can go ahead and loosen this up. Be very careful just because all of this is brittle. A little bit of corrosion, so I'm going to take a wire wheel and clean this up a little bit while I'm here. Then this hose right here, that runs along the side, is supposed to pop up. And this piece right here is supposed to pop open and come out. But it's being very stubborn, probably because of the corrosion that's all the way down there. So I'm going to take a little pry tool and try to pry it open. Quit being stubborn. There we go. Heard something break off. Hopefully it wasn't anything important. There we go. Yeah, all of this right here is very corroded. So I'm gonna clean it up with a wire wheel a little bit. And I have no idea what these two things are. Could be something for vacuum, so I might replace these in the future just because of all the corrosion right here. Not a huge fan of that, kind of ruins the look of the engine. So now we have more room to play with. What you want to do next is take off this filter. Ooh, that is thick. And of course have a towel near you so that way you can wipe up any oil that's leaking. With oil filters, usually a plastic bag does the job. So there's the big nut down below. Once we take that off, we can move and take the screws off on the side. There's one down there and one down there as well. Once we do that, we should be able to pop this off and clean off all this gunk right here. Man, that is on there. Might have to use a breaker bar. I could use an impact, but I don't want to damage anything because, you know, with my look. Oh, there we go, that was easy. Sweet, now we can unscrew by hand. There we go. There's the big nut. And these right here are also Torx bit. Just gotta figure out which one. There we go. So now this whole assembly should pop off. And just in case, I'm gonna grab a towel or two and pull it apart. So yeah, that is the piece. And the gaskets are on this piece, they got stuck on there. But we can definitely see right here, that's where the oil has been leaking from, this little O-ring. And there's the other one. That is, ooh, that is very hard. Jeez. Ugh. Yep, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see, but it literally cracked in half. And the ones that are on this piece are literally stuck on there. It would also be a good idea to plug up this hole once you clean it. And there we go. I'm going to clean off all of this area and down below. Once that's cleaned off, I might spray some brake cleaner right there and maybe try to plug this hole up so no brake cleaner gets in there. So like I said, I'm going to plug up this hole right there and clean off all of this. And unfortunately, I'm also gonna have to clean this part. So there's my ultrasonic cleaner. It is very heavy. Sometime in the future, I want to get a workbench right on this area right here so I can place this over there in the corner and get a vice grip for metal bending and stuff. I kind of wish I didn't clean off the part, but all we're going to do is just drop it in there. I didn't really have that much cleaning solution. I had barely anything, so I'm not really expecting a whole lot from this. But I just have to set the temperature and the time. There we go, we can see a lot better. And there's the phone. But it looks like it's slowly heating up. I'm guessing it's gonna take forever, plus it's pretty cold in the garage. So I'm just gonna go ahead and press the timer. And we can already see it working. And voila, it fits in there perfectly. This is the piece that I've been looking for like 4 or 5 years, and I finally came across it. I did have to fidget it in there. The spacing right there is very tight. But as you guys can see, the car can finally get some fresh air from the outside instead of ending like right here and getting all the hot air from the engine bay. And let's take a look at the part. Ooh, that is very dirty. I might pull it off right now just to see what it looks like. Next time I have to clean the part, I'm gonna buy the correct cleaner and try it that way. It actually looks pretty good. I'm actually quite surprised. Ignore the chalky milk right there, but not bad at all. And I'm sure you guys remember what it looked like before, especially those crevices inside. Okay, I cannot complain. So now I'm gonna go ahead and wait for it to cool off a little bit and dry it off. Okay, let's get back to installing this oil filter housing. So pretty much now you gotta pop in the gaskets right there, and one on the bottom. And do everything in reverse. I could take a wire wheel and clean this up, but I don't think I will, just because it'll match the rest of the engine a lot better, because all this looks like ass. Okay, so now we're gonna pop open the gasket kit. There's the small one. Slides in there perfectly. And there's this one. And the main one goes on the bottom, which it sits like this. And there's the pump. You slide it in there and screw in the bolts that go on the side. You can go ahead and pop that in there just to kind of help it fixate so it doesn't like move around. Just hand tight for now. And I'm not tightening these all the way just for now, up until I get these ones in. And yeah, if I didn't have to film a YouTube video or clean the actual oil thing, the oil pump, I probably could have done this in like less than 30 minutes, I believe. That's why a lot of times, whenever you guys see stuff that I skip, it's usually because I prefer to just, get it done, because certain things take forever. But I'm trying to be a lot better about it this year. So now we can go ahead and put this piece back on, put the filter back on, tighten it. If you want to, you could put some oil in there. I don't think I will. I don't think it's that necessary. But this piece just slides in there. Don't forget to put this ground in here. That's kind of important. But this is pretty stiff in there, so I don't see it coming off anytime soon. And since we took off the oil filter, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this one off, popped all the gaskets off, which there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks like there's 4 gaskets. And replace the oil filter. And as you can see, I got the filter replaced, the gaskets, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we just pop this in. And I like to give it a little bit more. And all that's left is to actually start the car, let it run, and make sure there's no oil leaks. But I'm not gonna do that because it's pretty late. I don't feel like starting the car up this late at night. But it looks a lot better. And I shouldn't see any more oil leaks from this general location. Because you guys can see right there where it was shooting oil. And if you look down the radiator, it's probably really hard to see, but right there, all that there is oil from this. But not no more. And of course, don't forget about the cover right there. And that right there is how you replace the oil filter housing. Overall, it's like a 1 out of 5 on difficulty. It's extremely easy. You can use common tools besides a 46mm socket. But I'll keep you guys updated about the door handles. I have a good feeling they're gonna fall off while I'm driving. So I'm gonna contact the seller and see what he'll say about that. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.